Good Tuesday practice, 2 good days of practice. Excited about the challenge. Not going to answer any questions about injuries. Why should I? Doesn't benefit us for me to answer questions. So excited to play against a team that's playing really well.
Coach, can you kind of talk about the bye week a little bit and what you learned or found out about your team? Is there something that you did as you self-evaluated your team?
From a big picture perspective, we got a lot of recruiting work done. High school and portal evaluation got out 2 days, and we've got got quite a few commitments. And the portal will be active December 5th. For graduates, you can have contact right now. So, in terms of roster management, it was a good time to work on our 23 squad. Also, the self-study we did, in all three phases was always good. We didn't spend any time on Louisville, not much. I mean, I was in the office a little bit more and did, but it was centralized more on us. And and my experience too is sometimes when you spend too much time on an opponent, you end up with too much stuff. And I didn't. So we got a lot of good stuff done. The players, I thought, really benefited. They had their weightlifting. We worked the young kids at practice a little bit more than we normally do. And I think the guys that have been playing really got refreshed. They didn't have any much physical pressure on them or mental pressure. And, and I've seen a difference here early in the week.
I wanted to ask you one more thing about recruiting now, having Andrew on board. Has that helped having a little bit of a recruiting staff?
Andrew and Rylan, and Rylan's very important too there. And Andrew helps us, in our evaluation and identification process. And we're still hoping to add, a few more people here down the road, kind of get up to speed with everybody else in the conference.
You mentioned kind of the mental toll it takes on the guys. Did you see that going through this Sun Belt schedule and playing really good teams every single week? Was it taking a little bit of a toll on your team?
I think I saw it a little bit start to wear on us. We had 2 long road trips, Arkansas State and then Georgia Southern, and then came back with, Marshall, and then all of a sudden Toddy can't play, right before the game. So you play 5 in a row, guys get beat up, bumps and bruises. They might still be playing, but they don't feel very good. And so I think the off week came at a really good time.
Give us a preview of Louisville a little bit. Obviously, you mentioned they're playing really well. They were great last week.
Right.
What do you see on film?
Well, normally you always start with the other team's offense, and they got a great quarterback. I think he led the country in rushing for quarterbacks last season, and he can really go, and he can throw it well too. He's been in and out with a couple injuries, but he's back now. Offensive line is really good and functions really well. They run the ball well. The backs are really good. They got their top back last week. He had a 52-yard touchdown run. Tight end is a really good player, and the receivers are dangerous and got a good scheme. Defensively, they've really turned it on the last 3 weeks. Virginia, Pitt, and Wake Forest, they lead the country in sacks. And they're third in the country in turnover ratio. They had 8 sacks and 8 turnovers against Wake Forest. And, I mean, that Wake Forest quarterback, he couldn't even hit his back foot sometimes, and they were on him. So they're flying around. They got a lot of good players, based out of a 3-down front. And, the linebackers are big and athletic. The field ends 270, and high TFL sack guy. The boundary end isn't quite as big, but he destroyed Pitt. DBs cover well. They run the ball. They're aggressive, and they enjoy playing right now.
It's a different kind of quarterback than you guys have seen really all year. Does that change the way that you guys prepare on the practice field for a quarterback like that?
Well, you certainly got to contain them, but then they got the other guys too. They can run the ball downhill and get it out on the perimeter, and then they've got the misdirection and all the pass concepts. So, but there's no question you got to contain him and not let him beat you with his legs.
And then through the bye week, Billy played against Marshall, were you able to kind of, how have you seen him develop, after seeing game film from for a full game?
Well, Billy didn't get Alonzo got a lot of work because we worked the young kids last week a little bit more, the kind of the third team guys, the developmental guys were redshirting, got a little bit more work. Billy's had a lot of reps. Billy's been in the program 2 years. He gets reps every day. He alternated with the ones, spring ball, fall camp. He knows the offense. And, so, Billy's got talent and he can be a really good player. He's got to practice a little better. He's not a great practice player. And to play quarterback, you got to be a good practice player. And you got to have attention to detail, know the game plan, and you got to think like a coach when you play quarterback. And I think when that light turns on, he's going to be a really good prospect.
Does having the actual game film, though, help him as a quarterback rather than, getting the reps in practice, but finally, getting to see it again?
Absolutely. No question.
And then how have you seen a guy like Terrence Green kind of come on in his game throughout the year? Started off kind of rocky, but has had to catch over 25 yards basically every game.
Yeah, he stepped up because we started working a rotation out there. Actually moved Ravenel ahead of him at one point, and then the next week worked a rotation. And since then, he's been making plays. He's our strongest receiver. He's a very experienced guy with a lot of career catches, yards, and touchdowns. Been playing very consistent football for us.
How much of an emphasis has taking care of the football been in practice so far after the last 2 weeks and then Louisville forcing 8 turnovers against Wake? And how do you simulate that in practice?
Well, that's always been a big emphasis. We work ball security drills every Tuesday before practice starts, and we've been good. Like, how many times have I said we're number one in the country last year in turnover ratio? And we were good for a long period of time there. We had a couple against Texas State, but, really bad conditions. So it's an emphasis. And there's a fine line there between harping on it too much. We just got to protect the ball better. And, I mentioned 11 turnovers. 2 of those are on teams. And they're momentum-changing plays. The block punt against Georgia Southern was a momentum-changing play. The PAT block against Marshall, momentum-changing play. I mean, we had all the momentum in the world. So, we had a couple interceptions against Georgia Southern. One was at the end of the half where we were trying to throw the ball away. Running back didn't block the right guy on a blitz. We had one in the low red area where the receiver let the DB undercut him on a slant route, which should never, ever happen. And then we had one on the last play of the game. Now, Marshall was a different story.
A lot of times it seems like when you guys face these bigger opponents that are riding high, sometimes the team that's riding high is JMU, and after this big win against Wake Forest for Louisville, they've kind of got that riding high type of energy. What do you tell the players when, you see kind of a team that's really, really excited and really juiced up, as sometimes you like to say, and how you guys can kind of take advantage of their high energy right now?
Well, we can only control us. And, they're playing at an extremely high level. They're a very impressive team on tape. Right now they're playing like a top 10 team, top 8 team, 7 team in the country. That's what I see on tape. So we can only control our preparation, and which has a big effect on how we play on Saturday.
How has Louisville maybe grown the most this season from the beginning of the year?
They started out, they had some guys hurt, especially on defense. And we're giving up a lot of big plays in the passing game. They did change a little bit schematically, playing a little bit more one-high coverage instead of quarters, blitzing quite a bit more. And as as they've played better, they get more and more confidence, and it becomes a cycle. The confidence leads to success. The success leads to more confidence.
And going off of that, talking about that cycle, how do you almost bring that back after, perhaps 2 losses? What is that mental shift like in practice?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
What is that mental shift like? How do you bring that cycle of confidence back onto your team? Do you feel like at all there has been,
No, I don't think there's any lack of confidence or belief in our team. I mean, we went in a little shorthanded against Marshall. And our guys, there's no loss of confidence here. Trust me.
How is preparing for a night game different than preparing for a day game?
Yeah, you sit around the hotel a little longer during the day. Maybe have meetings with the players late morning or around noon. Watch a little more football, till pregame meal. But after that, it's all the same.
Explore the great outdoors with the all-new Charlie Oball RV and Outdoor Superstore. You've got to see it to believe it. Come shop our mega showroom located off I-81 and I-64 in Stanton. Hundreds of new and pre-owned campers of all sizes in stock and ready for making memory. New campers like the Keystone Hideout starting as low as $175 per month. It's the only store you need to visit for the latest deals on fishing, hunting, electric golf carts, electric bikes, and all the best outdoor apparel. Visit CharlieOballRV.com or stop by and start camping. And God bless America.
Hello, Queen City. Headed to Charlotte? SHD can take you there and beyond. Our new airline partnership will enable Valley travelers to make seamless connections beyond Charlotte on American Airlines, along with smooth baggage transfers to your final destination. With the highest level of customer service, plus all-leather seating and expanded legroom in every row, you're in for VIP travel experience with Contour Airlines. Visit ContourAirlines.com to book your next flight and experience the SHD difference.